that is wild is pregnancy brain. I didn't think that that would happen to me. I didn't think that that was a thing. Whenever women said that as they're pregnant, I honestly thought it was an excuse, like something that people just say to be like, oh, I'm pregnant. No, that is a legitimate excuse. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Chelsea. I'm currently 27 weeks pregnant, which is really pregnant to me. And this is one of the videos in my pregnancy series, kind of documenting the whole journey. And I love to do these sit-down chat videos just by myself because most of my videos are with my husband and we love doing those together. But when it comes to actual like pregnancy updates and how my body's changing, how I'm feeling, the things I'm observing, and things that I want you guys to know, especially if you're kind of just now starting out in your pregnancy journey or you're just stinking curious, I just like to sit down and chat about it. So this is the second trimester update, pretty much through the second trimester, and I just really wanted to talk about this before I get into the third trimester because I feel like I'm gonna blink and it's gonna happen. So let's just get right into it. So if you're curious, this is what a bump looks like during the day in a sweatshirt that says 100% organic. It's looking real big, real big. But the funny thing is, I don't know if this is the same for anybody else, but whenever it's nighttime, my stomach pushes forward and I feel heavier. And I don't know if it has to do with what I'm eating and the combination of things, but one thing I've been seeing that's very common lately with me is constant heartburn. And this wasn't a thing in the first trimester. It's just recently become like an ongoing thing. And it's not like the heartburn where it flares up and then it goes away. It's almost like this ongoing like feeling in my chest. I know some people may say that's a sign of certain things like low iron or whatever, but trust me, I'm doing everything I can to supplement my body and I appreciate advice, but also I'm doing good. So heartburn is one of those things that's been very new. And if you're wondering why I don't have my wedding ring on, it's because I was washing my hands and whatnot. I feel like I always have to explain that when I'm not wearing it because people are like, are you okay? But yeah, heartburn has been crazy. And another thing that I have been kind of in awe of lately is just how high my uterus is going. Like, I didn't think that the baby could kick so high on my stomach, but let me just show you. This is kind of like how it works. So earlier, back in the day, back in a few weeks ago, I could only feel them like up to here, but now I feel them like as high as here. And I've heard that eventually you can even feel them kick this high. And I'm like, honestly, so shocked with that. I never expected to feel movements that high up. I thought I was gonna take a nap earlier and I never did. Another thing that I didn't necessarily address in my last update video that has kind of changed now is there's a lot more pressure and I won't say pain because for a few weeks it did kind of feel like pain, but then I realized I was kind of deficient in calcium and magnesium and needed to supplement. On my hips, all the bones in my area that has to do with birthing a child, everything is starting to stretch, get looser, and prepare for birth. Our bodies naturally do that, and that's amazing. But I had been feeling heavy discomfort there for a bit and realized that I just need to do like more stretching, and my immediate reaction shouldn't be to just always like want to lay down. It should be to figure out, okay, what is my body trying to tell me now? And whenever I got those signals of like, okay, something's up, I started supplementing with some things and the pain went away. The pressure is still there because my belly is getting heavier. Before I got pregnant, I was a healthy, like normal weight. And since then I have gained probably about 20-ish pounds. And I was doing some research of like, what is the normal healthy range? That's kind of on the middle ground of like healthy. Again, that measurement was like a few days ago. So if you're calculating it for yourself on the internet and you're like, oh no, you're not gaining as much as you should, you know, all the numbers and like how fast you're growing it all just like kind of goes over my head sometimes, and I swear my brain is changing. That's another thing that is wild, is pregnancy brain. I didn't think that that would happen to me. I didn't think that that was a thing. Whenever women said that as they're pregnant, I honestly thought it was an excuse, like something that people just say to be like, oh, I'm pregnant. And no, that is a legitimate excuse, because there's so many things that just slip my mind, or I just don't think of in the same sharpness that I have previously. If I haven't already told you this before, I think I've talked about this on our podcast or in other areas, but one thing that is like really cool about pregnancy is you start to lose brain cells. That's not cool, but listen up for the cool part. There's new pathways that open up in your brain the moment you give birth to your baby that allows you to multitask better, that allows you to create a special bond with your baby that has to do with like a lot of the hormones that are released at birth and everything. It's just insane what happens with our bodies. So if you ever are curious of like hormonal changes and the changes in the brain and all of that, do some research, because pregnancy is mind-blowing in that way of just learning all those random things. I never thought I would be so curious about all the little nuances that don't necessarily have to do with my belly's growing or I'm peeing more or that sort of stuff. So it's pretty cool. Another thing that has also happened is I get really flushed in my face. There's a lot of blood that our bodies carry in our body when we are supplying a blood supply for a child as well. They say it increases about 40%. So right now, my body is pretty plump with blood. One of the cool things with that is you often hear a lot of people say, oh my gosh, you have that pregnancy glow. Well, what actually causes that is the more blood supply that you have in your body that is usually flushing it to your face, making your face, you know, more pink or more plump, and sometimes even more shiny, which is pretty fascinating. There's other things that play into that, like hormonal changes and stuff like that, but my midwife and doula have been sharing these facts with me every single time I see them, and we are in a birth class now, which is so fun. We have our next one tomorrow, and it's just really cool to be with other couples and learn all these things that I feel like a lot of traditional online stuff doesn't really teach you. When I talk, I don't like to take a lot of breaths. I like to not seem like I'm saying a lot of like or ums, because I hate filler words. So usually I talk at a faster pace and I don't allow myself to breathe as much. And sometimes with all that blood supply and everything, my face can get really red. It's happened on a few Zoom calls and like meetings that we've had, and Nick has had to look at me and go, dude, like, calm down. Your face is super red. But normally with my normal blood supply, this wouldn't happen. So it's just a really interesting thing that I've noticed with this pregnancy. In the first trimester, I hadn't felt our baby kick at all, because usually you don't up until there's a huge range that they give you because everybody's different. But I didn't personally feel him kick until probably 15 or 16 weeks. And now that I'm closer to 30 weeks, it's a kicking machine. He is a kicking machine. And it's not just kicks, it's like stretches. You can feel the arm stretching and the foot moving and like him like contorting his body inside. It feels like he's punching and kicking at the same time. And if this is any indicator of how our child is going to be outside of the womb, it's taking after its dad, because Nick was a very rambunctious child. But I know that babies just move around a lot in the womb because they gotta. I mean, they only have that little space. I've heard as the third trimester happens and the baby gets bigger and stuff, it doesn't have as much room in there to move around. So you just feel like more like an arm moving across your stomach or a butt pressed up against your belly, those sort of things. But right now, he's still kind of tiny and I can feel like every little movement. So that's kind of fun. He only really moves whenever I'm still. Sometimes I'll feel him like pressure on a part of my stomach when I'm walking around, but it's very rare, because when you're moving around and kind of being active, it actually rocks them to sleep kind of puts them to sleep a little. And whenever you're still, it's like when they want to be active. At least that's in my case. So yeah, it's just been a really, really cool experience. I know these videos aren't necessarily, you know, vlog style or like going around and showing you guys things, but I just love having these update videos to share with anybody who's going through something like this, or is just curious. And the last thing I'll encourage anybody out there, even if you're not pregnant, but especially if you are, just remember to eat. It is really hard for me sometimes, like whenever I wasn't pregnant and I was working, I would go on hours of just not even thinking about eating because I didn't have to. I would normally just eat really big meals and not really snack or anything like that. But now, even if I am not hungry, I have to tangibly think, okay, there's these little pockets in my day that I can have a snack. And even if I'm not hungry, I need to eat, because I know that I have a habit of not necessarily filling all the nutritional buckets as far as food goes if I don't remind myself or set up times to do so and stop work and all of that stuff, because it's not just about me, it's about fueling this baby. So yeah, I just need those reminders. And I think there's this thing that people think, or this idea that people have about pregnancy, that you automatically are just hungry all the time. And sometimes you're just in a mindset of, okay, I have all these things I want to get done and I love this baby, but sometimes you just kind of forget to eat. At least that's in my case. And so I have to literally force myself to have separated times throughout the day where I, you know, have a handful of nuts with apple and all of that in between my meals, because I'm supposed to be having about, how many calories more? About 500 calories more than my normal daily intake. And sometimes I would have a hard time even intaking the normal amount. So just a little reminder. I know some people need that reminder to set aside those, I guess, parameters in your day to remember to eat, because it's a big deal when you're providing life to another human. I'm definitely feeling a weightiness knowing that I'm just like 13 weeks away of the due date of this baby. It's got to come out somehow. And I do have a birth plan, and we have, you know, backup plans, and I feel comfortable with everything. But as your stomach gets bigger, as things get like bigger in general, you just feel the healthy pressure that it is of about to bring life into the world. I know some of these sentences aren't coming together, but my brain, it's different right now. So that's my update. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. And I appreciate you watching these videos. There's gonna be a third trimester update. There might be more in between, because in the third trimester, so much happens and so much growth happens so quickly. I'm excited and also anxious about what that's gonna look like for me. And I'll probably have a lot of new changes to share with you. If you are not involved in our tight niche community on Patreon, Patreon's like a platform where you can post extra content, do live streams. We personally do Bible studies on there. They're bi-weekly Bible studies. We go through different books of the Bible. And then we pray over everybody's requests and needs that are in our community. And we have a Discord, all these things. There's so many different things. The link is down in our bio. That's not a bio, that's the description. Link is down in the description, and you can check it out. I appreciate y'all. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates and just our videos as a whole. We really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.